Change the name of these things to Out the Door, Chasing the Bunny and More. Look at him, he's so sprawled out. He's just chilling there, just laying down on his side. I hate to disturb his slumber, but I got things to do. It's 75 degrees at 6:20, 4 degrees cooler than yesterday. It's low tide. The water was very interesting yesterday, coming out of the sky and onto the Fore River, into the Fore River. The bunny's not moving. All right, let's see how close we can get. T-Rex is still on vacation. Yeah, he's prepared. He's prepared to do his bunny thing. What do bunnies do? They bounce fast, like that. A bouncing bunny. And the sky looks almost the same as it did yesterday with Stratacues. You want to go out the door for weather and more with Steve? I knew you'd show up here, but you don't have your leash on. Out the door, weather and more with Steve and TK. This doesn't have the same ring to it. Steve's not quite as enthusiastic. All right, you're free, kinda. Gorgeous morning, relatively speaking. There's no severe weather this morning in the eastern United States. It's moved just offshore. Wonderful view from 22,000 miles up of the backside of the convection right there. It's casting a shadow over eastern Massachusetts. You can see the sun is just on top of the cloud now, so the shadow is just to our east. And that is a smoky sky coming in from the west. There's the smoke, stratocumulus. It's hard to tell the difference right now because the sun angle is so low. But there's some blue sky up there. There's the blue sky, and it's going to turn smoky as the day goes on. But I think it's an elevated smoke from the fires in Western Canada. So if it's not one thing, it's another. Interesting. Look at the drainage down there. So yesterday was the wettest July 16th in our life, with a general 2.5 inches of rain. Cobley Hill in Madison, New Hampshire, more than 4.5 inches of rain. And you got to remember there was about a foot of rain in the 4 weeks before this in Madison. Fortunately, yesterday, the heaviest rain was outside of Vermont. There was some spotty flooding in Vermont, but not a disaster like other places. Now, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, harder hit in this one. I do believe I see a sundog. Yesterday while I was talking, there was a halo effect, and I didn't notice it because I was just scrambling to figure it out, but that's a bit of a sundog. That's when the sunlight refracts off the ice crystals up high in the sky at 30,000 feet, 22 degrees off the sun. Thank you for asking. So the wind is coming in from the west a little bit right now and southwest. The dew point actually drops, excuse me. Let's look at the blue line and the red line in Boston. The dew point goes down in the mid-60s today with a temperature of 85 to 90. So yeah, it's warm to hot and humid, but more comfortable than some of the days we've had recently with the dew point in the mid-70s, like yesterday. And the temperature is going to stay in the 80s this week, and the dew point's going to climb back into the 70s starting tomorrow. So it's going to be a warm and humid week. Today we are mostly rain-free in New England. Not much showing up, maybe a spot shower or thunderstorm. Tomorrow, the next front gets in here. These fronts just come to New England, they decay, they lose their upper level support, then we wait for the next one coming around the base of that old, cold upper low in central Canada, which just refuses to go away. So tomorrow you do get a chance of a shower and a thunderstorm. And that would be mostly in western New England. So now in northern New England, more typical with those storms decaying as they come east of the Connecticut River and the Merrimack River. What do we get down here? I tipped the plants over because some of them still hold water. Cucumbers going for it. That's catnip. Looks a lot like mint too. Any new cucumbers in there? Yeah, probably. I didn't really have time, or yeah, been pretty busy, you know, all those weather conferences we're having and everything. Friends, Jim Cantori did make it back home finally out of Logan yesterday after sitting around for hours and hours. And on the Weather Channel this morning, he tweeted out that 500 millibar anomaly and that cold pool in central Canada and how it kind of strengthens again in the Midwest. And that's going to bring more rounds of heavier rain coming into New England after a fairly nice week. It looks like heavier rain is going to come in off and on starting Friday. Now Friday, there's a high pressure system in southeastern Canada, and the low tries to go south of us. So that could mean a wind from the east and cooler, but more heavy rain coming in on Friday into Saturday, and then that low goes north of us Saturday. Then we're back in that really sticky weather with a chance of more showers and thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. So we're in this pattern where the nicest weather is during the week. Hopefully those of you on vacation can enjoy this. I'm heading to meet T-Rex on vacation tomorrow morning. We are going to be someplace where it will be foggy every morning and then hopefully burn off, and that's the case for a lot of us. Beautiful, huh? Smoke, clouds, sundog. Shall we go check the rain gauge? Where's Steve? Steve just chilling out over there at school? Mitt's still in bed. Hey, there's T-Rex. Yeah, right. So it's interesting. I did plant these peas a little bit later than those ones, but to have one branch of peas still hanging on while the rest are going to seed, it's pretty interesting, huh? Dill's going to seed anyhow. We should be taking all that out and getting rid of it. So this rain gauge, we talked about it on Twitter yesterday. How much does the overflow hold? And we had mixed reviews on that. But I guess this whole thing, after the overflow goes in there, fills the inner tube, can hold about 11 inches of rain altogether. I'll show you in the in more part how much we emptied out yesterday. So since the event began, I had 0.24 into yesterday morning. Then I emptied out at 1.85, so we were at 2.1 by the end of the day, and then we'll add on another 0.57, so it looks like 2.67 is going to be my final number. Doing the math quick. Oh yeah, speaking of math, I shared this on Twitter this morning. It looks like there were about 15 tornado warnings issued in New England yesterday, or the Northeast. It looks like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island. I don't think Rhode Island had any. Anyhow, 15 warnings. Those are the red triangles and rectangles on this archive from yesterday. And one tornado was reported, an EF0 in North Brookfield, but there was no tornado warning for that. There was a severe thunderstorm warning, which I think suffices in most cases. When I started in the weather career 20 years ago, before all these advanced radars, just about every time you had a tornado warning, you had a tornado. But nowadays, the radars see the motion in the clouds, and basically most thunderstorms do have rotation in them, so we have a plethora of false alarms and tornadoes. Now, I don't know where the middle ground is. You don't want to wait for a tornado to be spotted on the ground to warn on it, but we've got to figure out some way to not warn on every rotating storm, because we're really diluting the product. Tornado warning, tornado warning, tornado warning. And speaking for someone who had to work in the news business, when there's a tornado warning, they treat it so differently than a severe thunderstorm warning. And so you have to stay on the air every minute looking at that rotation. And I think it's really, that does a reverse job. I think people are more jaded now, thinking, oh, there's not a tornado, because we had 15 warnings yesterday and 0 verified. So yeah, I've got a hair across my you-know-what over that. But, you know, we're trying to do our best here to cover the weather as best we can, and we've got to learn how to do a better job with that. Anyhow, I'll leave you with some fun scenes from yesterday. Fresh water is less dense than salt water, so some really fun patterns. Talk about that in the rain gauge. And hitting the road. Talk to you again tomorrow. 2:30 in the afternoon, Sunday, July 16. Just had first close lightning bolt. So yeah, sure, let's go outdoors because thunder roars. And I noticed that we're in a flash flood warning in Weymouth already, even though it's been very spotty rain. How much have we picked up since I emptied it at 8 a.m.? We're at 0.26. Don't often see a flash flood warning issued for 0.26, but I think it's anticipation of what's upstream from us right now. A lot of flash flooding so far today. Fortunately, no reports of any tornadoes. Bunch of warnings, but no verification. When thunder roars, go outside and pick some tomatoes. Tomato season is here. That downpour, the first one, I think that warranted the flash flood warning, is passed. It lasted maybe 45 minutes at most. Heard about 5 claps of thunder. One was pretty close. It rained really hard for only a couple of minutes, really. So how'd we do for a rain in less than an hour? It was a 1/4 inch before it started, or call it 0.2, and it topped off another 0.8, plus it looks like another maybe 0.2, so pretty close to, I'd say, an inch of rain fell with that downpour. There's another one over southern Rhode Island. We'll see how that one does. Flooding in New England. Gorgeous at Tahoe, California. Steph Curry just hit this like 15-footer for a birdie. That's heavenly in the background. South Lake Tahoe, where it is not scorching hot. It's not raining. It's a buzzer beater of the golf variety. That was great. Look at the people on the boats. Steph Curry has won his first ever American second. He closes it out with an eagle at the last. And he knew it. 2 eagles. Yeah, but look at the snow. A buzzer beater to win the NBA championship. Look how excited he is. 6:30. Are you bored with this weather, Steve? Really interesting patterns on the water developing. I think the tide might just be turning from going out to coming back in. Isn't that interesting? You can kind of see the slicks accumulating along the groin and then going out and getting caught in the... I'm not sure which way the water's going, to tell you the truth. The boats are kind of still. You got one boat on the right pointed toward the east, another one pointed toward the southwest. My guess is the tide is just turning and starting to go out. Not much wind, and the rain, that's been intense for a little bit, but we certainly didn't verify flash flooding here in Weymouth, which is no problem with me. We're saturated. So what do you think? I asked online how much these gauges hold. I got answers ranging from 4 inches all the way up to 11. Anyhow, we overflowed an inch. I'm guessing we're pretty close to 2 inches. So a lot of people got an awful lot worse than we did. Not over yet, but I think the heaviest is over for the day. I'll probably do it for the end more today. On the road, guess where we're gonna be tomorrow. Someplace cooler, but probably could be still raining though. Because it was a place that was sunny today. I just have to see if my guess was right. I'm thinking this is pretty close to 1.8 or 9. It's overflowed and it's up to 0.09 on the overflow. So we'll see if there's a correlation. 1.85 since 8 a.m. It's about 6:30.